took me a moment to work out how to go live again because it's only my second time. So thanks for your patience. I'm going to get this in the holder pretty quickly tonight, and we're going to get making, and I'm hoping that some of you will be able to see me. So as soon as you hop on, say hi. I'm just going to go, I'm going to add this while I'm waiting for more people. I'm going to go onto my channel on the computer so I can see what's going on there as well. Okay, let me go in there, turn the volume down so it doesn't interfere. Hey Priscilla, yep, I'm here. All right, good. So I've got my computer here at the side so that I can see comments when they come through, although I tend to get, I'm one of these people that I get really immersed when I'm creating. Hey Kay, yes, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, I tend to get really immersed in what I'm doing, and I keep forgetting to look at my computer screen and look at comments. So every now and then I'll go back in and see who I can see, answer any questions. So yeah, this doesn't have to be a one-way chat. You guys can chat and I can see your comments and answer questions if you like. Okay, so how has the weekend been? It's Sunday night, ready for another week. Who's with me? Are we good? Say hi, please. Hey, Helen, how you doing? Yes, good evening to you as well. All right, I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to pop it in the holder, and we're going to, then you'll be able to see, instead of seeing me, you'll see my desk. I'll just wait for a few more people, and then we'll get going. I've had a good weekend. I had a Zoom class yesterday, which went really, really well. We had a couple of people that weren't able to make it yesterday, and they'll watch the replay. But it was a great class, and I enjoyed having time with people. No, we missed the big thunderstorm. It was up in the Hunter area. Actually, two of the ladies on the Zoom call were from that area, and one had the storm early on. A big bolt of lightning actually kicked her out of the call, and then the other ones at Raymond Terrace, and she got a little bit later. So, but it was fun. Hey, Anita, how you going? Okay, shall I put this in and we'll get started? All right, let's see how we go. I'm going to flip it around, so give me a moment. Please be patient with me. Here we go. See, there's my computer, and here's my desk. Whoop. I've got a cable there that I'm trying not to cover up the camera as I put it in. All right, how are we doing? No, I'm going to go back this way. It's a little bit of a shadow there, but I think that's okay. Can everyone see my disc okay there? How are we doing? Good? Any damage up there, Helen, with the thunderstorm for you last night? I heard about it, but yeah, it missed us. So that was good for us, but not so good for everybody else. That's good. The only bad thing that happened to me this weekend, you might have seen I'm wearing my red reading glasses because I managed to lose my glasses yesterday afternoon. I'm pretty sure I lost them at Erin Affair when I was at the shopping centre, and I'm so annoyed because my prescription really good glasses that I love, I'm going to have to sell lots and lots of stamps to save up and buy some more. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. I thought tonight we might focus on these wonderful things because these are probably one of my favourite things in the new catalogue, and these are the blending brushes. Okay, they come in a pack of 3. You can see I've used mine here for 3 different colours, but I'm going to talk a little bit about them and give you a few tips to working with them. You can wash them. Of course, that's the first question everyone seems to ask. They say, oh, can you wash them and use them for different colours? Yes, you can. So here's a new one. This is brand new, and if I get it up close to the camera, let's see if you can see that. Whoops, try and bring it down a little bit. That's better. All right, so can you see the, oh, I'm terrible at knowing where the camera is. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but the bristles are really, really soft. There's like thousands of them in there. These were, my understanding is these were originally the types of brushes that were used in the makeup industry. So to put, you know, to blend your makeup on your face. But then the craft industry got hold of them and went, wow, those are pretty good. We can use them for other things, and here they are. So they've been around for a little while, but Stampin' Up! Just released their version of them on the 4th of January, or 5th of January, I forget which now, but beginning of the month anyway. Now this is one that I had used for this colour, okay, for the blue, and as you can see, I have washed it. All right, so it never comes back to pure white like it was at the beginning, but I could pick up any other colour there now because there's no colour left in that to come off. So yes, you can wash them. I used just a little bit of soap and warm water and ran my fingers through it and then left it to dry, so that worked well for me. But you do want to make sure they're completely dry before you want to try and pick up another colour. These ones, I haven't even bothered washing them, and the reason why is because these are colours I use all the time, especially these two. And I've been using a bit of purple lately too, so that's the reason for those. I'm just double checking messages. Oh, okay, but it wasn't at your house, the power pole, Helen. I hope not anyway. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yes, have you got some on order, Kay? That's great. All right, so the colour I've used in here, I used, basically if I know I'm going to use a lot of a particular colour, or, you know, this one, I just could use it always for greens, okay? I have used this for Granny Apple Green, and I've also used it for Old Olive, because, you know, even though Old Olive is darker, it works for both, okay? This one was used for Pool Party and also Bermuda Bay, because they're both sort of blue-greens, so those colours work together, and this one's been used for Gorgeous Grape. Okay, so they're just some standard colours that I would use a lot. So let's play with them a little bit tonight, and I've used them on this card. I made this card last night. It was quite late and I was finishing up a few things, and I thought sometimes I just get an idea for a card or suddenly want to use a particular colour or paper or something like that, and I've just got to make it right then and there. So I thought, well, this is a pretty simple little card. I'll make it with you. Really what makes this card beautiful though is the sponging behind here, and that's what I used my brushes for. Okay, so I just find it really well. Did you hear what I said a moment ago about losing my glasses, Ellen? Did you hear? Isn't that terrible? Hello. Hi, Vicky. Yeah, the brushes are great. Have you used them, Anita? You're saying they're good, so I hope that means you've actually got a chance to play with them. All right, so this is a really simple card. I have used the ice cream papers for this. So I'm using this is the sweet, well, what's it called? Ice Cream Corner Suite. And let me grab the picture for you. So this is on page, where is it? Here it is, page 48 and 49. And there's a, yeah, just those two pages, 48 and 49. So there's some lovely samples here. I have to tell you, I am a sucker for polka dots. Just love them. Cannot get enough of polka dots, and it's just a personal thing. Other people might not like them so much. I also like stripes, but polka dots really float my boat. So I don't know why that is. Yes, seriously, Erin Affair. You know what I think I did? I know I went with them. I know I had them when I was up there, and then when I got home, I didn't have them. And I have a feeling that they might have been in my hand when I was throwing away my lunch rubbish, which is awful because that means I threw them in the bin. How bad is that? Just so, so sad, which means I'm going to have to replace them. So as I was saying to the other girls, I'm going to have to sell a lot of stamps. Oh dear. So Anita, your verdict is that they're great. I like them. I mean, like, we've got several sponging options, right? We've got sponge daubers, which are, you know, everyone knows what those are, these little guys, all right? And then we also have actual sponges, and I chop my sponges up to make them last further. They're about this big, but you can chop them up like pieces of pie and get a lot more use out of them. So I chop mine usually up into about 6 pieces. That way I get heaps of options out of them. Okay, I will, Ellen. Thank you. I'm gonna have to talk to someone because I can't live without my glasses. I'm wearing my red reading glasses at the moment. They're my most recent script before those. All right, so these are the papers, And you can see them right here. I've got them here for you. They're just so, so gorgeous. So here's my green and white polka dots. I've nearly used up all of this paper, I think. I'm pretty sure. Or have I got another sheet? No, I have got another sheet. Woohoo! Yay, because that's my favourite. Then on the back we've got these watercolour designs. Whoever said blue and green should never be seen had no idea what they were talking about. I love blue and green together. I just think they work. But you can see there's all these beautiful little ice cream cones in different colours. This reminds me of the waffle cone. You got your stripes, like candy stripes, aren't they? They're beautiful. We've got paddle pops. And so anyone else got this paper? Because it's just beautiful. This is like, this reminds me of water, but I think this is, one of the colours in the paper is terracotta tile, and I'm wondering if that is it. Although it looks a bit more calypso coral to me. I'm not sure. Then we have this one with the yellows. So there's some So Saffron in there and also some bumblebee. So then you've got your little flat cones. They're cute too. And on the back of that one, we've got sprinkles. So just beautiful papers. Really lovely for summery. If you're a scrapbooker, you could do lots and lots of cool summery layouts with these. You know, kids with ice creams, you know, running around in the sun, that kind of stuff. I think this is fantastic. But they're also great for cards. And it has got a beautiful matching stamp set, which is right here, as you can see. Just dropped my paper on the ground. All right, so there's lots and lots of cool things with those. So I used this paper, the dotty paper here, and that's the one I've gone with. So that's Old Olive with white dots. But here's another option for you. If you don't have that paper and you have happened to have gotten hold of this SAB paper, so this is one of our free items. This is a level 1 set, which means in Australia, if you're spending $90, you get to pick a free level 1 set, and this is a level 1 set. So you can see the colours in this are Blackberry Bliss and Rococo Rose. We've got dots, not quite polka dots, but they're cute anyway, dots. And then we've got kind of like just an ombre, dark to light paper there. That's really nice. And then on the other side, we've got Bermuda Bay and Granny Apple Green. And you've got your dots again, same designs, we just got the 4 different colours. These are really, really lovely. So I think that's all the colours. Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Granny Apple Green, Rococo Rose, and Whisper White. Of course, the white is in there as well. Speaking of Whisper White, I did mention this last week, and I won't talk about it every week, but in case you missed the news, the company that made Whisper White cardstock for Stampin' Up! Actually went under due to COVID, which is just yucky, really. It's awful because all those poor people lost their jobs, and we no longer are able to produce Whisper White paper. But don't panic, because they have already sourced a new replacement, and it is really comparable in feel and texture. Very, very similar. It's called Basic White, and it will meet all of our white needs. So I'm happy that they've been able to replace it so quickly and get hold of that stock so quickly, because as you know, stock coming into the country has been delayed in so many ways because of what's going on, but that was something they were able to source quite quickly, so I'm very, very happy about that. All right, so let's put this away for a moment. And okay, so I have got here some white paper. Let me grab it. Isn't that always the way? I went and got the white paper before we started, and now I've put it somewhere. Oh, there it is, over here. Right in front of me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to fold my card base. So this is half a piece of A4 paper. It's cut in half horizontally, and I'm just going to use my bone folder over the edge. I love my bone folders. I'm just going to use that to give me a nice flat edge so that the card will sit flat. Okay. If you don't have a bone folder, it's a really simple, basic little thing, but it just saves your fingernails and gives you a lovely flat edge. And you know, it's all those little details, I think, that make the difference. Okay, so I've got this paper, as I mentioned before, but like I said, if you wanted to, you could also use this one. This would also work. Or you could use the blue. Let me see, where have I got some of that? That would also look really nice. That would be a blue version of my card. No, I'm just going to go with with the, I'm going to go and do it originally because I just, like I said, I love the polka dots. So I've got my trimmer here. This is my, I love this trimmer. This is a great trimmer. If you don't have one, fantastic trimmer. If ever you're wondering how to get your hands on any of these things that I'm using, everything is available from Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So just speak to your demonstrator and she'll organise for you to get your hands on any of these things. However, if you don't have a demonstrator and you're in Australia, I'm very, very happy to service your needs. I have an online store and you can go there 24 hours a day and purchase whatever you like. And I'll put the link to that in the description below when I post this video. All right, so I'm going with a 9 centimeter wide, which is about 3.5 inches, 9 centimeter wide strip. And then I do tend to go between inches. So this is 2.5 centimeters or an inch. And I'm just going to make 4 strips. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let me read back up because I haven't looked at the comments for a little bit. I'm not very good at reading the comments. Yeah, me too, Ellen. I just love polka dots. I don't know what it is about them. Yes, I get a better result with the blending brushes as well, Anita, and I think it's because they give you good even pressure in a wider area. Like this whole area gets even pressure. So I think that's why they do such a great job, and all those little tiny bristles, so soft and so close to each other, that's going to give you a great result as well. That is why. If anyone's wondering, there's 3 in a pack and they're $21. Okay, so they're $7 each, but they do come in a pack of 3. Okay, let me just have a quick look. Oh, you're watching the cricket, Priscilla? Oh, okay, I hope I don't interrupt the cricket. Goodness. Yeah, it is a fun sweep, but I always like this kind of thing. Oh, yeah, true. Yes, I like the happy birthday. I used it on this card. I like the font. I just think that's really pretty. But also there's a really nice thank you in here as well. And I've used this one, Treat Yourself. I like the thank you. I've used You're So Cool. That was on a card in my Zoom class yesterday. You Melt My Heart is kind of cute. But you can also add these ones. I think like Happy Birthday, Hope It's Sweet on the inside of the card. So you got the outside and the inside. And this one with sprinkles on top, that could go on the inside of the card too. So you've got some for the outside and some for the inside, which is a really nice idea. All right, so we've got our 4 strips. And I'm just going to move that out of the way because I don't need it for a bit. Okay. Married at First Sight. Do you know I don't know whether I'm proud of it but I have never seen an episode of Married at First Sight. I know what it is, but I've just never watched it. Does that make me boring? It's just I'm just not interested. I don't know why, but I hope I haven't offended anybody, but if I should be watching it, let me know why I should be watching it. Okay, so I'm using a bit of snail here, and I'm going to start near the top, and I'm going to just line this up in the middle, and I'm just going to go from top to bottom. Okay, so if you want to maybe just sort of line them up first to make sure that you're putting them in the right place, because I'm going to try and keep the same amount of distance between each one. This is just a really easy way to do a background. I'm going to go a little bit further down, which means I just want to move that one down a bit as well. So I'm going to do this one next. You could go top to bottom, but I like doing the top and the bottom each because then I can make sure I use the same amount at the top and the bottom, and then the ones in the middle kind of fit in after that. So this one. So this is actually a really simple little card, but I just thought it was fun. And if they're not perfectly lined up, it doesn't matter because we're going to put this sentiment over the bottom bit anyway. So we're going to kind of mess up the distance. Oh, guess what? I'm out of seal. I'm right at the end. See the red bit? It tells me that I'm at the end because I've got to the red bit. Right, let me see. Grab another one. Okay, so you want to hear something funny, guys? I have been I sometimes leave, you know, if I'm finishing up at night, I'll leave my stuff where I left it. I put my inks away because I don't want those to dry out. But, you know, I'll leave my ribbon out, or, you know, scissors and things on the table. I'm learning that I can't really do that anymore. I'm either going to have to shut my door, or what happens is I get up in the morning and there is ribbon from one end of the hallway to the other. Guess how it got there? Yes, I do like the seal, but it took me a few goes, Priscilla, to get used to it. When I first had it, I wasn't real sure I was going to like it. I tell you why I like it. First of all, it's a lot stronger than snail was. It actually is a better adhesive. It holds and binds better. But there's a little bit more of a learning curve. So I put when I use my seal, I put it low down. I go slowly along the edge that I want to actually put my adhesive, and then when I get to the end, I tip it up, and then that snaps it off. And the reason why I do that is because if you don't, it comes out like a string of mozzarella cheese, and it can gum up the mechanism in here. And so then you've got to advance it. So it's no big deal to advance it, because you just move it forward with your finger. Can you see that? Can anyone see that? I've got a bit of string there. That's because that's what it would look like. But if I just move it with my finger and I can just touch it and feel that it's sticky there, then it's ready to go. So you always have to check to make sure it's sticky before you start, and then at the end of the row you lift it. We do have the Seal Plus, which is the darker. Let me grab that. So this is the Seal Plus. Okay, you can see here, this one says Seal and this one says Seal Plus. You see that? Okay, the Seal Plus is a stronger adhesive than the Seal, even though the Seal is pretty strong. The Seal Plus would be really suitable for cardstock to cardstock, or boxes and 3D items and things like that. This is great for that. This one, there's no learning curve. You don't have to lift it. You don't have to do anything special. It just comes out right every time, and it's in like little segments. Okay. This one's actually a lot easier to use, but because it is the more strong adhesive, it's also the more expensive one. So if you're not real sure, start with the Seal, but you just be aware that it may take you a little while to get the feel for it. Once you've got the feel for it, it's beautiful. It works so well every time, but it does take a while to get used to, and some people maybe aren't that patient. I don't know. People don't want to have to do something different or want to have to learn something, and I get that. I really do. All right, so in the interest of time, I've already gone ahead and cut an oval with my largest of the stitch-shaped ovals. Now, where are my stitch shapes? Did I bring those over? Stitch shapes, yes I did. All right, these are still, look at my poor old container that they're in. These are still my all-time favorite dies, okay? Even though there's lots of different dies that I love, the reason I love them is because you get four of the circles in the 4 different sizes, 4 ovals, and the biggest one's not in there because I just used it to cut this. And you also get 4 squares. Where are they? Here they are. There we are. 4 squares on the back of my magnet there. So the reason that I think these are so good is it gives you so many options, having squares, circles and ovals. You can add sentiments to almost any of them, and they're just so useful. I have found I use them, and if anyone says to me, what dies should I buy first with my new machine, I would always say these first. So I hope that they stick around, but who knows what's going to happen this year when retirement comes up. I have no idea. I never have a clue what's going to go and what's going to stay. And if I think something's, I've turned out to be notoriously bad at trying to predict it. So, yeah. All right. So there you go. Those are fantastic. So this is the one we're going to use. And I've just cut it out of Whisper White. I don't have, I'm still using up the last of my Whisper White. I haven't actually got started on my basic white yet. All I did was actually order a pack so I could feel it and see how it looks and if it's different weight. It didn't seem to be to me, but that's the reason why. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use this one because I'm going to be using Pool Party, which is a light blue. And this one's already been used for that colour before, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the same one. There's no need to use a new one every time you try and use a colour. If you've already used it for that colour before, use the same one again. So to pick up the colour, I actually go quite firmly into it. The other thing, if you're doing a lot of sponging, my suggestion is that you have a re-inker for your ink, because you'll find that you're re-inking more often because you're picking up a lot of ink off the surface of the pad onto your brush. So you want to make sure you have re-inkers if you're going to be using this. And I mean, re-inkers are a great investment anyway, because they'll make your ink pads last for years. So that's a really good way to go. So then I start in the middle, and I just move around and around softly and gradually add more and more pressure as I go. Now, I can usually get a pretty even result, but if it's not completely even, so for example this one isn't, I've got a little bit more at the start and the bottom here, and I am actually moving it in an oval shape, not rather than a circle, because of the fact that I'm working with an oval. But I wouldn't worry too much if it's not completely solid. Like if you get more dark in one area, you just keep working at it until you're happy with it. And for this one, we don't really care much with this project anyway, because we're going to be putting something over the center. We're just interested in this bit of sponging coming out from behind. Yeah, I just have never picked up on maths. I don't, there's only one reality TV show that I really watch, and I guess it's my guilty pleasure, but I actually really enjoy it. My husband and I watch it together and discuss the players and so forth, and I think a couple of people probably know what that is. Yes, correct, it's Survivor. I do like Survivor. I've been watching it for years. I've always found it really interesting. I like the politics between people, and yeah, watching how people survive, outplay, outlast. I love watching all that stuff. So that's about the only thing. You got caught up in the garden? Well, it's half an hour earlier over there, right, Cindy? Is it half? You guys have got daylight saving, haven't you? So you're half an hour behind here, I believe. Yeah. Yes, I prefer the Seal Plus too, but because, like I was saying, it is the more expensive of the two, I was determined to get the Seal to work for me, because I didn't want to have to recommend the more expensive product because I couldn't get the other one to work. So it gave me, it really took me the first roll to really get the hang of it. But then once you've got, you talk to a few people and they give you a bit of advice, like somebody, I think it was Ellen, that told me, make sure I lifted at the end. And as soon as I started doing all those things, I didn't have any problems with it anymore. So give those things a try. If you haven't tried it already, it's a great way to go. So there you go. Oh, hi Subu. You're in the UK. Whereabouts is Surrey? Like if I looked at a map of the UK and I was, I know where London is, but where is Surrey? So I'm afraid I should know that better, but I don't. Oh, wow, the Netherlands. Woohoo. We've gone global. I love that. All right. So I'm going to get my paper. I've got this piece of paper here. We've just used this side, which we just chopped up, remember? And then I'm going to get my ice cream punch. Now this is called the ice cream builder punch, and it does a couple of things. Some of you may have seen me do this before. Let me grab a piece of scrap paper. And I'm sure some of you have already seen this, but it is an ice cream cone with an ice cream and a cone, but it can be something else. Who knows? Who knows what else it is? All right, so this. All right. I've never watched Gogglebox. I've never seen that, but I've heard people say it's funny. And I'm guessing it must be funny because some of the people on the show probably, it's probably very amusing, the different kinds of people, the people that they have on there. I'm just looking to see what kind of hat would be nice. Maybe I'll give him a stripy hat. So he's just below London and to the left. So what, over towards Oxford? I know where that is. I'm going to go with the stripes here. I'm just cutting a stripy hat for my teddy bear. See the teddy? So it's an ice cream when it's this way, but if you turn it up the other way, it looks like a little bear. Ears. And all we need to do is give him a face. So I'm going to just use one of my journaling pens because it's good for this. Super, super easy to add a face. Okay, so do two little kind of, don't make them big, make them little eyes. Like little raisins there. All right, together. Then kind of a triangle. And then under that. So you've got your little bear face. Okay, you can give him ears if you would like to. Not that it really matters because the hat's going to cover part of those anyway. But you can see how easy it would be to make a kid's card with little bears with party hats. Aren't they cute? So that's an alternative idea for your punch. I think that's really sweet. All right, this is the paper we used a moment ago, and I'm going to use it again now to actually give myself a nice ice cream. So, oh, excuse me. All right, so I'm going to go with a bit of green and a bit of, I'm deciding where I would like it to be. All right, so this one here, it does waste a little bit of paper doing it this way, but I'm not too worried. So I've got a greenish kind of, let me see, and I actually don't mind the top piece having, like I could have different colors. I've got green and blue on it there, but I kind of like how that looks. Almost looks a little bit, you could do that, or I could decide I want a color that's more solid and come up here and, you know, do, and some of them actually look like they've got sprinkles on them. That one's rather nice. Well, I might just do that. Let's have a look and see which one looks best. All right. See, that one looks like it's almost got some sprinkles on it. We could also put some sprinkles on it because there are some in the stamp set. See here, sprinkles. There's little round ones, and there's also little like hundreds and thousands kind. No, hundreds and thousands of circles. Which ones are they that, what are they called that are like the little dashes? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Yes, I have seen a Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I did see that. I thought that was a really cool idea. They'd done it in black and red, and it looked fantastic. Yeah, nice idea. So yeah, there's some very clever people out there who come up with all these wonderful, wonderful ideas. Alright, so I'm going to put this one on here, and just for fun, I'm going to use my, because I think I will do it this way. I'm deciding, do I have the green on top or the blue? Oh, it's a hard decision. What do you think? Does it matter? It really doesn't matter, does it? Oh, vermicelli. Well, there's something else that they're called, and I can't think here in Australia anyway, so they might be called something different in the UK. But I'm not sure. Hi, Carmel. How are you? Right, I'm going to go with the blue one on top. There we go. And so I've added some little sprinkles here. All right. The other thing is I've got some paper on the back here, and I want to make a cone. Now I could stamp a cone, but it's even easier just to punch a cone out of the paper. So you can stamp the cone and add like the waffly design if you want to. They're just so pretty. They're really lovely. But for this one, I'm just going to add there we go. All right. Now I notice that my I might have to send my punch back because it sometimes seems to chop off the bottom. I've been getting around that by inking the bottom, so it looks like it's meant to look like that. But I think it's not quite giving me the sharp end that I would like it to. So this is cinnamon cider, and all I did was I inked up the bottom and the edges, so it looks like it's just part of the design. If ever you're not happy with something, you know, Stampin' Up has sent you something and you're not happy with the product because it's not working as it should, or it doesn't punch quite right, or anything like that, always contact your demonstrator, because Stampin' Up! Doesn't want defective products out there. They want everyone happy with their stuff, and they will always replace it for you. So you've got a 3 months, there's a 90-day returns policy. So long as you're in the 90 days, it's never a problem. All right, so I'm going to put this one on flat. There we go. And I'm just putting it over the top here, just like that. Actually, I may maybe put that cone a little bit high, but it doesn't really matter. And then the top one I want to put up on dimensionals because I think that'll look cuter. So let me grab some of those. So sometimes I do cards that have a lot of layers. This card has hardly any. It just has the paper here, the strip stuck straight onto the card base, and then just a motif in the middle. So it's actually not a lot of layers to this card at all. There we go, just like that. It's very pretty, but the star of the show really to me is that bit of sponging coming out from behind. I'm going to add some dimensionals as well behind the oval. So who got time to craft this weekend? Hundreds and thousands, thank you. That's what they are. Hooray! And sprinkles. Oh, no, maybe, oh, no, I'm still confused. Sprinkles, yep. Dashes are sprinkles and the circles are hundreds and thousands. Yeah, right. Yep, I think that's correct. All right, so I'm going to put this a little bit higher than the middle. Doesn't it look cute? All right, and then I've got a strip of paper here. Now, I've cut this at 1 inch wide, and I'm going to use the, oh, I always forget what this one's called. Does anyone remember the name of it? It's not the flag punch, but that's what I call it. And it does these 2 ends, so one concave and one convex, the ends. And you can do 1/2 inch strips, 3/4 of an inch strips, or 1 inch strips. And here I have a 1 inch strip, okay? And I want to use the flagged end. I'll have to, in the comments, I will also put the name of this unless somebody knows. The Banners Pick-a-Punch. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love working with everybody here because everybody knows this stuff, even if I forget. It's good. All right, so I'm going to use my Bermuda Bay because that matches in with my colours in my ice cream. And I used Happy Birthday on the other card, so I'm thinking this time I might go with the thank you instead. Because that's also a beautiful font. We like nice fonts. Use the thank you. I have learned a lesson with photopolymer stamps like these. The photopolymer ones are the clear ones, like acrylic stamps. Especially if you're using a long stamp, you really have to be careful how you take it off the plastic backing. Because it's really, really easy to break your stamp if they're really long, skinny ones. I did that with the curvy Christmas set that we had out back in December. And I very sadly managed to completely break my Christmas tree stamp. All right, so I'm going to be putting this here in the middle, so it gives me an idea of where I need to stamp and where it needs to start and finish. I do one end, one flagged end, then I do my stamping. Oh, it's raining. I hear it coming down. Isn't that a beautiful font? Look at that. That's a gorgeous stamp. Right. Then I'm going to grab my scissors. If anyone's wondering about this, isn't this cute? This was a gift that Stampin' Up! Sent back before the last training event that we had. All of our training events this year have had to be online, unfortunately, but they've still been somehow amazing, still been wonderful. This is actually just a little, they sent it with the paper snips, so it's the snips and then the little charm that you actually can put the ends in. and it just hangs off there. It's very, very pretty, and everyone knows it's mine. But they sent different colours. I got a green one. Some people got different colours. I know Ellen got one. Ellen, what was your colour? I can't remember. I know that different people got different colours. Yes, they are heavy. They are very heavy duty. Alright, so what I've done is I've cut this a little bit longer than what I wanted. So this space here, this I've given that same space on this side, plus a little bit extra, because when you put this in, it cuts a little bit extra off. So you can see it takes this little piece off here at the back. You see that? So if I push that in, then it's perfect. Alright, so this is going to go right here, just underneath my ice cream. You could, if you wanted to, use a sponge or a dauber, or you can even use your what's left on here and just do a light little bit of sponging around the edges. But you don't want to go overboard with it because it can actually sort of come over in front of your words. But I'm just doing a really light edge. I find that more successful on, like, if I was adding, like if this was a solid old olive piece, then going around with old olive all the way around looks really great. I'm just going to put this straight on. I'm not going to worry about dimensionals for this one because it's sort of going to go behind the oval. And that's pretty much it. There you go. So the reason I wanted to make this card and the couple of cards I wanted to do tonight, because I'm showcasing these beautiful blending brushes. If you don't have them, do yourself a favour and grab some. They are fantastic and they will change the way you sponge. You'll feel like you're looking forward to doing lots and lots of sponging. There you go. Now I've got two very similar cards, which I'm pretty happy with. Here we go. All right. Just grab this and put it away, and then I'm going to pull out the next thing that I want to do. And this one I haven't completely designed. I have it in my head kind of what I want to do with it, but let's see how we go. So another piece of Whisper White. Of course you could use any color base cardstock that you like. You don't have to always go with white. I do use a lot of white, partly because it's a really nice thick this is the thick Whisper White, not the normal Whisper White. So you want the thick one for card bases, or you would want to go with a colour for card bases. Okay. So I've got my piece of white paper folded in half. So it's a piece of A4, halved, cut in half, and then folded in half again. And this time I'm going to use, I actually don't have this set yet, but the wonderful thing about working in a team of demonstrators is that we all look after each other and share ideas and share all kinds of things. And she owned this set and very, very kindly lent it to me so I could have a play. And we all, yeah, things go backwards and forwards all the time. So, which is great. I think that's one of the pluses of working in a team. So what I've got here, this is the Simple Succulents bundle, and it comes with these dies. So you've got some lovely sayings here, and you've also got the succulents themselves. Who likes succulents? I know they're one of those things that people really, really love, or they don't. But I think it... Do you not have heavy rain, Super? Do you not? Yeah, it's heavy. You guys are funny. All right, so these are the dies that come with it. All right, so you can see there's a couple of banners there for the words that are on the front. I really like this banner. I think this is a nice one. Now, like I said, this is my friend Bronwyn's set. She does a really clever idea and thing, and I strongly suggest, if you haven't done this before, that you could do it too. When you first get your dies, grab a marker or a pen and zip around the outside of each die, because then you will know, A, if anything is missing, and B, you'll know where it goes. Because sometimes you take them off and then it's really hard to get them all back on again. It's like doing a puzzle, but a puzzle that nobody wants to do. So my suggestion is that you do what Bronwyn has done here. I think it's a really clever idea that you zip around all of them and then you know exactly where they go. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's funny how people feel. Either they don't like succulents or they really, really like them. So it's really interesting, isn't it? All right. So these, for example, some of these fit. Some of these fit the stamps. So you can see that one fits this one here perfectly. And there's a couple of others. But then we have, like a lot of die sets. Let me just find where that goes. There you go. That one goes there. Like a lot of die sets, they have some dies in here that don't match any of the stamps, which is actually a really great thing because it means it expands your what you can do with the bundle. So it will complement the stamps, not necessarily if we have got ones that fit them, but then you're going to have ones that complement them in addition to those. And I think that's a really great idea. I didn't understand at one point, but these days, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I'm trying to put these back in your lines, Bronwyn. I had it right the first time. There we go. Right, all right. So I'm going to pop those aside. I'm going to use them maybe later, but the one I wanted to talk about is this one. And to be honest, if this die set only had this die in it, I'd be interested in it because this is the one that I really, really love. And just in the interest of time, I've gone ahead and I've cut out of a piece. This is half a piece of A4. I've just run that through my Big Shot. It does need to go, because of the size of it, it does need to go through the standard size machine. It won't fit in your mini. Okay, so I've got a mini here, but that is not going to fit through this. Okay, so for this one, the others, like the other standard, the other little dies, all fit through these ones all fit through the mini, but this one won't. So you would need the standard die cut machine. But doesn't it look lovely when it pops out? I like these kind of big dies, and they make a wonderful, wonderful stencil or a template. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with it today. I'm going to put it down on here, and as you can see, it almost covers, in fact it does cover almost exactly the whole card. All right, now you could go ahead and cover the whole card, and if there was any bits you'd missed at the edges, just trim it. That would be a nice way to use it. But I think for this one today, I just want to have a design that's sort of like coming out behind the other elements. So that's how I was thinking I would use it. So I'm going to go with some Old Olive. Old Olive is a colour that has always been around. We've had this colour since the very, very beginning. I've been with Stampin' Up! Be 15 years this year, and it was in my kit when I first got it. It used to be a bright. And it was also, actually, when it first came out, let me think about it. No, I didn't get this one in my kit. I've just lied to you. This one, I got brights in my kit, but Old Olive at that point was in the Earth Elements family. Does anyone remember those? My goodness, that's dating me. Earth Elements were before they had Regals. They had a thing called Earth Elements, which was all your... you know, terracottas and greens and browns, all those colours were in the Earth Elements. So yeah, things have changed a bit, haven't they? All right, now it doesn't matter if this isn't perfect. We're using it, like I said, as an element in the background. So I'm just going to sort of start, most of what I'm doing is going to be down here. So I'm going to start in that area, and I'm just going to hold it with my hand. You could, if you wanted to, tape it on the table, but because I'm only doing a fairly light amount of sponging, I'm not even going to worry. I'm just going to hold it with my hand. But totally up to you if you wanted to tape it down. A bit of masking tape or washi tape, that would hold it in place. Depends. If you had a big area you were doing, or you wanted to come back to it with different colours, like I could maybe use a different colour up the top here, and you know, that would look really pretty. Now if I lift this up, you can see straight away how nice it is. Isn't that lovely? I think that's really nice. Right, but if I decided I wanted some more, like I decided I want a bit more down this way, so I can actually position that easily enough back over where it was before. I'm just putting them back down again, pick up some more colour, and come down here a little bit. So this is my second YouTube live. I actually thoroughly enjoyed doing the one I did last week, and I also realized that it's great for my existing customers who like to get onto YouTube as well. That, isn't that beautiful? I think that's enough. I'm happy with that. But also it introduces me to some new people. So there's people who are on YouTube lives that might not be on Facebook. Is there anyone in this group that doesn't do Facebook, and you find YouTube the better platform for you? I'd love to know what people think. 10 years tomorrow, Ellen. Congratulations. I didn't realise that. I think I should have known that, but I didn't. Oh dear. Well, congratulations to you. 10 years tomorrow, and I'm 15 in September. Isn't that crazy? Just crazy. All right, I'm actually really happy with that. I could just add a sentiment and not much else, and it would look lovely. But of course, we're not going to do that. Let's have a little look here and see what we can do. I've got some scrap paper here, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of colouring. So I'm going to use my D block. I think it would fit on C as well, but I'm just going to go with D. Now, when it comes to using blends, if that's what we decide to go with, or will I go watercolour? No, I'm going to go watercolour. I'm going to use, I've got two choices. I've got my Saddle Brown Stays On, which is waterproof, or the Tuxedo Black. Oh, no, not Tuxedo, just Jet Black. Jet Black. But I would use Memento Tuxedo Black if I was going to use blends. So you've got to get your inks right when it comes to colouring. Think about, if you're going to be adding water, you want to use the Stays On ink because that is waterproof. If you're going to be using alcohol markers, then you will want to use a water-based ink, such as the Memento. And I'm making the decision as I look here, do I want to go with black or brown? I think I will go with black on this occasion, but either would be nice. So you don't do Facebook at all, Subo? Oh, yes, you're right, Cindy. Thank you. It does. You know what? That's good too, because it did pick up a little bit of ink. I prefer, if I'm going to use Stays On, I prefer to use rubber stamps, because using the cleaner, the Stays On cleaner, is supposedly not very good for your photopolymer stamps. So if you're going to use Stays On cleaner, it's better that you're using the red rubber, because those will hold up against the cleaner quite well. That's a nice little stamp. Now, the other thing is, if you, I can come back and do that later, but if you're using Stays On cleaner, you want to do it fairly soon after you've inked. Pop it to one side. That's the Saddle Brown, for anyone who's wondering. That was on back order for quite some time, but I believe it's back in now. All right. And then I'm thinking, what will we add? Will I just go with the big one? You know what, I might. Well, I don't really want it to be big, because we've got this lovely pattern behind, so I don't really want, I don't want a lot. So I might be better with, I think I have an idea. All right, I'm going to use the big one. You can tell that I do this as I go, as I'm working out as I go along, because I'm mostly, if I'm designing a card, I usually don't know what I'm doing, but somehow it always seems to work out. And you guys get to see how my creative process works as well, and I've had people tell me before that they like that. Alright, so I'm going to go with the Stays On again. Because it's a bigger stamp, I tend to rub the stamp on the ink onto the stamp rather than trying to put my stamp onto the ink. So I just find this one, I give it a smush around first. I remember one of the trainers at Stampin'Up once telling me that inking up these kinds of stamps is like patting an old dog. It's rub, 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 pat, pat, pat. And I've never forgotten that. I'm not sure what kind of dog she meant when she said that, but it's always stuck with me. Right. This here. Now, also the other thing you might not know is that when you're using rubber stamps, you really don't need to pop a mat underneath, like a piercing mat. I would use a piercing mat if I was using larger acrylic stamps or photopolymer stamps, because that way I'll get an even stamp. But because there is actually foam in between the image and the block, you get a really nice image without having to worry about putting extra padding in. So it's a good thing to know. I'm going to move these out of the way. Now, up to you. I find it's easier to do my colouring when it's still on the paper before I cut it out. But either way, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever you think is going to work better for you. I'm just making sure that I have... All right, so these are also something fairly new. These were released in our annual catalogue last year. These are the new water painters. So they're similar to the old aqua painters. I'll show you those. So these were the aqua painters. Okay, do you remember those? All right, and they came in a fine point and a medium point in a pack of 2. Now we have the water painters. These come in 3. Okay, a pack of 3. You've got very fine. You've got a medium, which I tend to do most of my work with. And then you also have a brush, this one here. So this is fantastic if you want to do like a watercolor wash. Really great for that. But I find I seem to do most of my work with the medium size one. The other thing is there is water in the barrel. You fill it up just from the tap. It caught me out because it turns the opposite way. So normally I would expect to, unscrew it this way. It actually goes the reverse way. So just remember that when you go to fill it up. If you can't work out why you can't, and I can't help it, I always go to turn the other way. But yeah, that's once you have done that a couple of times, you'll remember. All right, I'm going to grab my terracotta tile because that seems like a good colour, doesn't it, to work with if we're going to paint a pot. All right, so terracotta tile sounds absolutely perfect. All right, a few ways to get the colour onto your pen. You could squeeze the ink pad until the ink is on the palette or the lid here, which I call my palette, and then pick it up from there. Okay, that's one way to do it. Very, very simple. And then just make sure you've got a little bit of water coming through. I give it a bit of a squeeze until I see the water appear in the barrel here, and then I can paint. Like all watercolouring, you don't have to be particularly precise with it. You just have to give a little bit of light and dark. I go over some areas. Also, I might leave a little bit around the edges because it's those white bits that tend to give it life, make it look more interesting. So very, very simple to colour, very quick. And don't think you have to have it even, because that's the whole nature of watercolouring, is that it's kind of a haphazard look. Now, to use this again, I would want to run it, squeeze a bit of water through and run it off on my scrap paper, whatever I'm using underneath. And I do that until it comes clear, which is now. Okay, then I can pick up my next colour. All right, does that make sense? All right, I'll move that out of the way now. I should have done that to one side, but never mind. All right, so what colour shall we do for, maybe I'll do some, a little bit with the green. So you can see I've already used these colours before. Another option is you could also put your colour into here and pick up from a block. You can pick your colour up off the block. If you don't want to squeeze and end up with colour on your lids, which can look a bit messy, you can pick it up on a block and then pick your colour up off the block. So that's another option as well. So I'm just going to very loosely, and the secret is to, with watercolouring, watercolours look best when you are very loose with it. So don't try and be precise. Let it fall where it falls. Okay, you'll have some light areas, some dark, some down here. All right, so you can basically sort of pick and you can add these until they give you a colour that you kind of like. And I'm going to, because this is a yellow-based green, I wouldn't add just jade, but you could go garden green. That's sort of a yellow-based green as well. Mossy meadow is another one. We could also add some grey in there if we wanted to, which might be nice because sometimes some succulents to me look quite grey. So let's see if we can pick up a bit of colour there. So let me do this one. And you can always add a little bit of, if you're using grey, you can add a tiny little bit of green in with it as well, like around the edges, because that looks nice. You know how some succulents have kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like a different coloured edge? Believe it or not, the neutral that's got the most green in it is Sahara sand, in my opinion. But the grey granite will work as well. Whereas crumb cake, probably too brown, probably. But, you know, experiment and see how this has got more green in it. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just going over all of it. I'm doing it really rushed and quite light. And I'm going to go with a darker Mossy Meadow here. When you add water to Mossy Meadow, it goes quite bright. So it's kind of on its way to Old Olive, but darker. Make sure there's a bit more water coming through. It's getting a bit dry. So if you start with a yellow-based green like Old Olive, you want to stick with your yellow-based greens. I don't know if you guys know a lot about colour theory, but usually if you're using cool colours, you want to stick with those and they will go together a lot better. Now, I'm going to make that a little bit darker. In some of the areas here. Just not quite dark enough. Sorry, I've gone quiet, haven't I? Just talk amongst yourselves while I paint. Sorry. It's because when I colour, and you know what, I notice this in classes too. When I'm running classes, if I have people colouring or cutting, everyone goes really quiet. It's all that concentration. That's actually really nice. I like that. There's a couple of leaves behind here I want to get a bit of colour onto. Now, just for something different, this will be interesting. I wonder if I could add a bit of, I'm considering adding a bit of Blackberry Bliss to these ones sticking out here, because sometimes you have those kind of pinky mauvey colours in your succulents. What do you think, guys? Will that work? Yeah, sometimes people join Facebook for a really specific purpose. I have found that. And I do also know I have quite a few people who have joined my Facebook groups who I noticed they've never posted anything. You know, they've been Facebook members since 2012. They're members of a few groups, but they actually don't post stuff themselves. So, you know, I think it's good to just get what you need out of a platform like that, whether it be YouTube or Facebook. You know, work out what it is you need and just get what you need. You don't have to get in more involved than that. But, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? People do all sorts of different things. Okay. Do you think it's a bit crazy having a bit of purple on there? Or am I... Has anyone got purple succulents? Because I think I do out the back. Now, I've used terracotta tile, but it's a bit pinkier than I'd like. Should I add some Cajun Craze? No, you know what? I'm just going to leave it as it is. It'll be fine. Don't get so worked up on what I need there. So I'm actually going to cut this out with my mini. I find when I'm crafting at this desk, which is actually very small, that the mini is much better for me because just try and straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Because the big machine is a bit too big for this. Now, it would help if I also have the platforms. Here they are. Alright, so if you haven't seen the Mini before, this has only been out since beginning or early this month. It has numbered platforms like the big one. So you've got 1, which tells me that one goes at the bottom. And this platform is 3.5 inches wide, okay, or 8.9 centimeters for those who are using metric. So 3.5 wide is really important because that means your paper also has to be right around that, that width, that measurement. Then 2, the cutting plates, and the second cutting plate is also 2. Okay, so you've got your numbered plates. These ones, 3 and 4, are for different size embossing folders. So your 3D folders and also the, but they have to be obviously a smaller folder to fit through here. Right now we don't have any 3D embossing folders that fits this machine. We only have standard ones. But the fact that we have a 3D embossing plate platform makes me think that maybe we're going to get some. So that's a bit exciting. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my dies. And I'm going to put these through separately. So I'm going to just cut this out. Okay, so here's my, can you see that okay? There's my pot. And I've got the pot on here. And I'm going to pop this through. For anyone who's wondering, the Mini is about a third or a quarter of the weight of the big machine, but it's half the size, and it's also half the price. So the big machine in Australia is $209. This machine is $104, or is it $104.50? But I think it's right around that anyway. It's almost exactly half. So I'm just going to put that through. So you've seen the purple succulents. I'm not imagining it. Oh, you love the purple? Good, good. All right. So now I have a nice little pot. It's ready to go. And I'm also going to use the big die. This one will just fit. So luckily, here we go. And I'm going to line this up on here. The new dies, as opposed to the ones we had a couple of years ago, line up exactly on the edge. Like the old ones used to leave a little bit of a border of white around, but these ones, they line up exactly on the edge. They do still cut though with a little bit of a border. I'm okay with that, I think. Now, if you want to, you could put washi tape or something on that to hold it down. I don't worry. I actually put my top plate down and hold them together as they go through. But here's the trick. When you push this in, you'll notice you push it until the handle starts to move. See how my handle is moving? Okay, then I can grab it. That tells me that it's starting to grab, and I can grab the handle and push it through the rest of the way. I put my hand on the top to stabilize it, and then I just wind it through. And it's quite a gentle pressure. It's not a lot of pressure at all. If you have one that has a lot of pressure to go through, there's possibly something wrong with it, and I would be looking at talking to your demonstrator about that. So let's just get this closed up. I'm going to put that on the ground for the moment. Pull all my pieces out. This is cut out beautifully. And put this back in its place. See how that makes it much, much easier. I'm just wondering, I might even, this to me looks like an aloe. An aloe, I think it is. I might add that one. So let's have a look here. Now that I've done all this, and I did do the full size, I'm deciding whether I want the whole lot on there, or whether I could actually cut off some of these flowers. What do you think? Shall we do them all? We might as well. for the purpose of today, we will do them all. Okay, so you've got this lovely piece coming out from behind. I'm going to put this down flat. So before, when I said I have an idea, I was thinking maybe I might cut some of them off and just go with the smaller. See, because I didn't want too many. You know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use these guys on a different one. After all that cutting, I know. But I'm quickly going to use my scissors. Who likes to cut? Anyone else like to cut? Or is it just me? I actually love cutting. Fussy cutting does not worry me at all. If I'm doing like a big swap or something like that, I don't do swaps very often, but if I like when I go on my incentive trips, I tend to go in the swaps for those, and I will be sitting up, you know, in front of the TV for a few nights before we go away, doing lots and lots of fussy cutting, nearly always. Alright, so I have actually kind of amended that now, and yeah, I wanted it to be smaller because I want to see more of this background. Okay, so this piece I'm going to put on dimensionals. Of course, we could have used blends, we could have used watercolor pencils. There's so many different ways to color. Yes, I find it relaxing too, Cindy. Same. Cindy, did you like your projects yesterday? Yeah, I actually think that that's a better balance. I didn't want this to be too big, so I think that's better for this card. And I'm deciding whether I wanted to have an aloe on here as well, because I could do that also. I might add it. I'm still thinking about it. If I decide not to, then when I post this card a little bit later, you're going to see it without it. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use, which stamp will I use? There's some nice sentiments. You make the ordinary extraordinary. You've been on my mind. Thanks. And kind people are my kind of people. That's nice. But I like this one. You make the ordinary extraordinary. I think that's a really nice stamp. So let me pull that out. And I'm going to pop that on a block. This is when I'm putting things onto blocks, I always line it up. I use my grid paper underneath here. Sorry about the back of my head, guys. And then I put that, I find it easier to line up if I use my grid paper, and then I have it ready to go on there. Right, so just ink that up with a gentle tap. I'm just turning it over to double check that I didn't get any ink on the edges. If you pick up ink around here, it's usually because you're pressing too hard on the ink pad. So if that's a problem, if you find you're always over stamping and getting the stamped edges, go more lightly, just gently tap on the ink pad, and then when you go to do your stamping, sorry, my head's coming in again, here we go, sorry, you go straight down. Don't rock your stamp. The number of times, and I used to do it too, I don't know why we rock our stamp. Do we think it's going to give us a better image? Because it doesn't. There you go. The other thing I could have done is I could have stamped that onto this little label and put the label here as well, and that would also look very nice. But I actually quite like it to stamp straight on there. What do you think? That's quite pretty. Another nice touch would be some Wink of Stella maybe on the pot or on some of the flowers. That would be nice. I just feel like it needs something. I'm thinking, does it need a ribbon? Does it need some embellishments? What do you guys think? If you were me, what would you add? Hi Joy, nice to meet you. Yeah, it is lovely. The Zoom meetings are lovely. I've decided the Zoom classes are probably going to keep going as often as I can do them, because it's just so nice to have people all over the country actually sit down and craft together in that format. And, you know, people are commenting on each other's stuff and showing what they've made. And even the scavenger hunt I thought was fun. So I enjoyed that as well. It was really fun. Hi Marilyn, nice to meet you too. Yes, Wink of Stella would be nice, I agree. But, oh, so I've got a big pile of embellishments that I keep next to my desk. One of my favorites is the gilded, so some gold gilded gemstones might be nice. I think the gold would be better than standard rhinestones. Oh, or we could also do, oh, there's some more of those. We could also do champagne rhinestones. Those might look nice. Actually, those might look really good. Look, I keep finding lots and lots of the gold. I love the gold. I buy the packets all the time because I use up all the little ones and then I have to buy a new packet. So I'm just going through my embellishment pile and seeing if there's anything else I'd like to use. But I think the champagne might be the winner. And the reason I'm thinking that is because I think it'll tie in quite nicely with the terracotta pot. So I am going to, now when you take these off, you can do it with your fingers, but here's a little trick I find works really well for embellishments. A lot of the embellishments that we have, if you take them off with your fingers, sometimes you take them off and you leave the adhesive behind. Does anyone ever do that? So I'm actually going to put my point of my scissors underneath and pick it up so it's sitting on the point of my scissors. You see that? And then I can place it wherever I would like. And I just find that is so much easier than, and you don't get adhesive left behind because you hook it kind of with your scissors. And if you don't, okay, there's one there that didn't quite come all the way off. I can pick it up, squeeze it back together, and get it off my fingers again. You could use a pokey tool too, so that would also work for you. And maybe a small one. So you kind of hook that adhesive with your fingers, sorry, with your scissors. Yeah, I like those little rhinestones. I think they look nice. And that's a simple enough card, but it's got, you know, obviously a bit of fussy cutting and a bit of rigmarole here. But how nice does the background look with the blending brushes? Oh my goodness, that is lovely. And I can use this over and over and over. Okay, I think it's really nice. I also have plans for anyone, if anyone's watching that's coming to my scrapbooking class next week. Are you coming, Kay, next week to scrapbooking? I'm going to be doing, I think, I've got to decide by tomorrow. Actually, it's not next week, it's this week. Oh my goodness, this Thursday coming. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a background with this. So we're going to use the blending brushes and probably on white cardstock, 12 by 12. So I don't know if you're coming. Yes, you are. Yay. Well, you get a little sneak peek. This is the sort of stuff we're going to be doing with one of our pages on Thursday. So there you go. So there you go. 2 nice cards. I'm pretty happy with those. I don't know what I've done with the other cards now. Goodness me. I've put them somewhere. Here they are. Okay, there's the cards we made tonight. So what did you think? Does anyone have any questions for me? Is there anything you'd like me to show you next week? Anything at all? Does everyone know at the moment that celebration is on, which means that if you are spending any money at all, thank you very much. If spending any money at all with Stampin' Up, every $90 you spend from either catalogue, doesn't have to be the mini catalogue, it can be either, or a combination, every $90 gets you a free item from the Celebration catalogue. And there's some beautiful, beautiful free products, like the ombre paper I showed you guys before, just lovely. There's some beautiful papers, some nice stamps, and then there's also some stepped up level 2 items for people who spend $180 or more. Mind you, if you were spending $180 or more, you really should think about joining with the demonstrator kit, because that's only $169, and that gets you a lot more freebies, plus a discount ongoing. So if you have interest in that and you're in Australia, just get in touch. I will put the details of my store and other contact details in the description. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone at all, please just sing out. Oh, you'd like some ideas for the hydrangea set? I probably won't be doing that this week, only because I had borrowed that set to use as well. Believe it or not, I don't have it yet. And I do also have the papers, but then I had a customer who urgently wanted it, and I've actually passed them on to her. So I won't have them to play with this week. But thank you for that one. Yes, I will be doing some things with the hydrangea, and I may run an online class with the hydrangea at some point too, Cindy, so look out for that. That's my plan anyway. So there's a lot going on. Celebration ends this year at the end of February. Most people are used to it going right through to the end of March, but not this year. It's just January, February. And then we're going to have another celebration in the middle of the year for 2 months then. So, so something else to look forward to down the track. Normally our new catalogue goes live in June. This year it's going live in May. So everything's sort of moving forward a little bit, and there's lots and lots of fun things coming. So stick around, because I will be doing lots and lots of things coming up over the next few weeks. I do plan on doing more YouTube videos on a Sunday night. So Sunday nights is a good night for you. I will see you back here again soon. Good luck, everyone. Have a great week. If you have any questions, just ask me, either private message me, comment, whatever you would like to do. Head over to Facebook and like that if you're on Facebook, and you can always ask questions there. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye.